I'm back. Working on King Gidrah. Last you saw, he was taped up. I pulled some of the tape off because I got a few comments on the YouTube channel. Rubber chicken body. Rubber chicken body. This thing reminds people of a rubber chicken body. I don't have a rubber chicken to compare him to, but I can actually see that. It's really damn goofy looking. I haven't glued the legs on yet. I want to do the seams on the legs before I glue them on there. But I left the tape on there. What I have done, tail part number 1 glued together. I went ahead and glued up the tail. Now I want to talk about this real quick. The Godzilla kit, the King Gidrah kit, are fairly well engineered kits. What I mean by that is they've got a lot of detail on them. I've only found detail lacking in one spot, and that was in King Gidrah's mouth. Godzilla's mouth is detailed out all the way around. Okay? So there's no detail lacking there. Another place they're really well engineered is the pieces here. If I could do some really micro sanding, I could get rid of the seam and preserve the detail. I can't do that, and I know that. So what I'm going to end up doing is aves and putting impressions in it. But that's how well the upper part of the tail and the lower part of the tail go together. I can run my finger along there, I can't even tell there's a seam. Now one thing about that is they have very large retaining pins. Okay? What I mean by very large retaining pins is this. Here's his head. I mean one of his necks. I'm dropping everything. I've got it in my lap right now because it's the easiest place to reach it. I'll put it off to the side. Here's one of his necks. Alright? We're going to zoom in on this. Now, again, my camera likes to focus on everything, but you can see that retaining pin on the end of there is very large. And his head fits on there just fine, but the problem is you can see you can move it around. So you have to align it yourself just perfectly. If you don't align it yourself just perfectly, you can end up with a bad seam. So that's the only negative I have found on this kit, is that you have to be very, very careful and precise on how you align things. But if you do that, you can run your fingers up and down there and not even know that seam's there. That's how well engineered this kit is. I mean, outstandingly well engineered in that regard. Bad part though is it's got a lot of detail. Even one more thing here, let's zoom in on this neck, because I was just looking at it. And I'm almost on the bet, unless I point it out, you don't see where that seam is. Okay, I can see it in the camera only because I know where to look. It's right here. The detail pattern lined up along the... You can see it if I turn it this way, because there's no detail. But the detail pattern lined up almost perfectly from part to part. That tells me someone really spent some time working these pieces together. I mean, I'm almost speechless on how well they did this. But I've glued up all 3 necks and both tails. So here's both tails. Let me get the other 2 necks. The reason I'm dragging the necks out is there's something I want to show you guys. Just in case someone actually is crazy enough to try to track this kit down. It was made in 1984, so I wish you luck in finding the kit, because I've only seen it on eBay twice in the last year. And I bought it one of those 2 times. Okay, tails. They've got this twist lock mechanism. You turn it in and you twist it to lock it in. Okay? So when I go to glue these down, they are going nowhere. And I had the option. I could have put both tails straight, both tails bent. I decided one bent, one straight to give it some character. Okay? Now the tails have nothing to do with how tall this thing is. The necks have the same lockdown mechanism on it. And you can see that. You put them in and twist them. Kind of a disappointed though is the central neck doesn't do that. And yes, there were different pieces for doing different geometries to the necks. I used the long piece in the center. Someone suggested they thought that his central neck was longer than the other two, so I did that. Now here's where the problem comes in. It's the 3 necks. We got spines running down the top of these necks that go all the way up to the body. If I want these 2 necks to overlap, the third one fits in here really well. But if I want these heads facing outwards, this neck is getting pinched. I don't know if you can see that, but this neck gets pinched in the spines and won't sit down right. So I have to push it. I only have 1 or 2 ways of positioning these necks so that I can put this third neck on here properly. So that's one downfall in this model. They didn't engineer that part well. Another downfall is this neck, the 2 necks do not go on the body well. The tail goes on the body real well. The 2 necks don't. The third neck, the central neck, yes, it goes on there really well. The diamond patterns almost line up on it. But the 2 main necks, they don't. And that's a disappointment. But nothing some creative seam filling can't hide, correct? Well, anyhow, there's my update on the King Gidrah, or King Gidrah. I finally figured that one out. King Gidrah was the first set of movies. King Gidrah was the second and third set of movies. So he went by 2 different names. Just depends on which set of movies you're talking about. King Gidrah was the 60s and early 70s. Gidrah was everything from then on, 1980s on. Okay? So there you go. Hope you enjoy the update. I will be back later when I start seam filling on him, because I'm almost done with seam filling on the Godzilla kit. Once it's done, I got to seam fill him. He is going to get painted this color. Maybe something close to this color. I haven't touched the wings yet. They're still on the sprue. Okay? I've been very tempted to pull them and stick them in the back of that body and see what this thing's going to look like with these humongous wings on there. And I'm going to feel bad to paint them because they've got good detail in them and the coloration just shows up really well. Paint them they will get, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get the veining, the black veining back in this. I finally figured out what it is. The gold doesn't go all throughout the plastic. The gold only goes through the surface layer. I don't know how they did that or what they did, if they painted it or what, but that's what's going on. If you look closely at my seams, you can see where the glue melted the gold away. Anyhow, I'm rambling. We don't need that. Have a good one.